Folks, another shameful story of police action, this time out of Florida. A senior airman, a black Air Force senior airman, has been shot and killed by Florida Sheriff's deputies. 23-year-old Senior Airman Roger Fortson was fatally shot on May 3rd after the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office burst into his home. Reports said the deputy was responding to a call about a disturbance in progress and reacted in self-defense after seeing Fortson with a gun. But family attorney Ben Crump says the officers were at the wrong address and did not identify himself when knocking on the door. Fortson, reportedly on the phone, retrieved his gun when he did not see anyone outside. But the knocking continued. Crump and Roger's family viewed the body cam footage today. Ben Crump joins us right now. Ben, so what the heck happened here? What were they even executing? Was a disturbance?
Roland, it's unbelievable. This young man was a model United States member of the armed forces. He has no criminal history in his background. He was on the phone with his girlfriend on FaceTime the whole time leading up to this. The family is adamant. Everything that we know about this case tells us they went to the wrong apartment. And when you see once that door opened, he told him to step back. Roger was very, very respectful of law enforcement. He stepped back in a split second, Roland, in a split second. He shot him 6 times. And what is being left out of this argument, out of this case, is they keep saying, well, he had a gun when he came to the door. Well, the reality is, his girlfriend said they didn't hear the police identify themselves. He said who it is, and nobody identified himself based on what the girlfriend said, and she's going to do her own press conference, so it's not lost in any translation. But when he saw a black man with a gun, even though he was a law-abiding citizen with a registered license to carry a weapon, Second Amendment rights, that police lit him up. And right after he shot him, he then said while he was on the ground, toss the gun. He didn't give any verbal commands to drop the gun and put your hands in the air when he came open that door. And that's what's troubling, Roland. They continue to try to justify the unjustified killings, even our best young people.
Did they knock down the door, or did Fortson open the door?
The video shows it opens in less than a second. He then began shooting.
So wait a minute.
Rounds. Hit him 6 times.
So wait a minute. Fortson opens the door. And instead of the officer saying, come out with your hands up, the moment he opens the door, the officer starts firing.
Roland, when you see this video, you are Roland. I mean, it is deplorable when you look at how fast he took this young man's life. And this young man was outstanding in every way. He was in special ops, Roland. He had did a tour of duty. He was taking care of his mother and was the hero to his little 10-year-old sister and 16-year-old brother. In fact, there's a photo we'll get to you. He was so proud of being in the United States Air Force. He had an airman's uniform on, and he bought his 9-year-old little sister at the time airman's uniform, and it's so adorable because she is saluting him. And this is the type of person we had that they are trying to make out to be the bad guy. He wasn't the bad guy, he was a good guy.
Questions from the panel, Reese?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Crump, for bringing attention to this case. What about the neighbor that supposedly led the police to Mr. Fortson's door? What have they said, if anything, about the situation?
You're brilliant, Miss Reese, because you get to the crux of the matter. When you watch the video, and you listen to her describe what's going on and that it's 1401, well, the reality is he is in that apartment by himself on FaceTime with his girlfriend with his little dog. There is no domestic disturbance. They went to the wrong apartment, and God help that leasing agent at the apartment if she's the person who sent them to the wrong apartment, because that is the question. Were they at the right apartment? But even beyond that, you watch that video, I mean, it has so many troubling questions that become apparent. Number one, why didn't he give verbal commands to put down the weapon, put your hands up versus just unloading on him? Number two, when he's on the ground, he then gives the command, toss your weapon. And Roger couldn't have been more respectful of authority. He said, I did. And then when you look at his girlfriend's FaceTime video, he's saying, I can't breathe. And the officer yelling, stop moving, stop moving. And he's like, I can't breathe. And they don't offer him any medical assistance. And you watch this 23-year-old American patriot die right before our eyes.
Lauren.
Ben, it's Lauren Burke. Do you know, is there anything you can talk about with regard to the police officer, the age of the cop, any prior record of abuse, or the time on the force? Any experience at that address before?
Miss Lauren, we don't have any information about the cop. Obviously, they want to try to assassinate his character, because the first statement that came out from them was they didn't mention he was a military officer or anything. This is in Fort Walton, Florida, where Eglin Air Force Base is at. It's full of military people. They didn't want to say that. They said officer responding to a domestic dispute kills a armed citizen, in self-defense. Well, the issue is you came to his apartment. He had every right to have a gun. This is Florida, for God's sakes. Every citizen is encouraged to have a firearm. He is an officer who is militarily trained. He's one of the people we want to have guns. He's responsible. He's very diplomatic. He's very a rule follower. I mean, he was the person who you would say, if you're going to be a gun owner, how about we have that guy who's trained to use firearms? And so, but when he had that gun, they tried to say, oh, it was self-defense. And it suggested, Lauren, that he did something bad, that he was a criminal or something, when there was nothing further from the truth. The officer went to the wrong apartment.
Thanks, Ben.
This right here, give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up. Give me 1 second. And I'm going to advance this because, folks, this is the body cam footage. I'll talk over, so go to the body cam footage. This is the deputy arriving at the scene. The body cam footage was released publicly just 3 hours ago, folks. And so
listen closely, Roland.
All right, got it, folks. Turn the audio up. We'll stop talking. Turn the audio up. Go.
Howdy, sir.
What's going on?
I'm not sure. I just was told to let her know if you guys come by.
Okay.
So I'm going to give her a quick call and let you guys know. Let her know.
So there was a fight going on or something?
I was not present for that.
Okay. Yes, sir. Are they fighting or something?
Saying that it happens frequently.
Okay.
But this time it sounded like it was getting out of hand.
Okay, which door?
I'm not sure. 2 weeks ago, I was walking by their apartment, basically, on this side, and I was hearing himself, like shut the fuck, like you stupid B word and all this other stuff, and I heard a slap, like right after it, but I wasn't sure where it came from.
Okay.
And I couldn't call, like I didn't want to call the police, and like, you know.
Which room is it?
1401.
1401, okay.
1401. But the girl sounded scared, the one that called. She said, she was like, it sounds like it's getting really out of hand.
So it's hit number 4.
Hey, Ben, she said 1401. Was that Fortson's apartment number?
It's not.
It was, yeah.
Okay, hold on one second. Okay, got it.
She said she wasn't sure initially where the unit was at, but then she said 1401.
312 111. Three 12 to 111. Sheriff's office, open the door! Sheriff's office, open the door! Step out. Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! 312, shots fired. Suspect down. Do not move! 312, get EMS my location.
Unbelievable.
Oh, all right. Now let me. That's the end of the body cam video there. I mean, absolutely, Ben. No warning. Door barely opens. Barely opens.
Didn't tell them to drop their weapon. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Didn't tell them to drop their weapon. He didn't give the verbal command, drop the weapon, put your hands up, nothing. Said step back. Roger was stepping back, never raised the weapon.
Right.
It was in his right hand. And he just unloaded on him, Roland Martin.
At no point in this did he ever give the order to drop the weapon, nothing. It was like literally that door opened, he saw a black man with a gun and he fired. And as you said, we're in Florida. You can have a gun in your home.
Yep. Hey, Roland, it's so deep. When you look at him on the ground and he start giving the commands after he's been shot, I mean, Roger's even complying then. He says, toss the weapon. And he says, I tossed it. I mean, he couldn't have been more compliant, but it didn't matter because for whatever reason, I think we all know the reason, when he saw that gun in his hand, he just said, bad guy. And Roger was...
Damn.
Yeah, nothing in his record. It's unblemished. He was a decorated airman. He was in special ops. I mean, he was doing everything right.
Great car.
Thank you, Roland. Thank you, Brother Crump. I wasn't aware that Black people are encouraged in Florida to be armed. In fact, I think we should probably stop talking about a right to be armed. There is no right to be anything in the United States of America when you're Black. Not really. At least if the law means more than just some words on a page. But I want to ask you about the question. The question I have to ask is, what is the cost to this struggle against these murderers for us to continue to frame the victims as good as opposed to bad people when nobody should be executed by the hunter? From what I've read, the hunter has been put on administrative leave, probably paid. The deputy hunter, the one who strode so confidently to the door and as an accessory before the fact named the apartment 1401, certainly won't be punished. She's a deputy cop, as are all people who do this kind of thing. But what's the strategic value of us mounting a defense of someone as a good person, as if there is anyone who deserves to be murdered by these murderers? Is there some concession? And then does the burden then shift from the killers to the victims when we start talking about good people as opposed to bad people? Should it matter, and why or why not?
It shouldn't matter, but unfortunately, we live in America where race is always an issue, and they try to criminalize our race. They will assassinate our character after they assassinate us, and that's what they're attempting to do. He tried to say self-defense. It reminds you of Botham Jean in Dallas, Texas, when the policewoman went to the wrong apartment and killed him. And they're talking about, I was in fear of my life, self-defense. It's the same notion that it doesn't matter how good the Black person is. They still try to justify the unjustifiable killings of our people. It happens over and over. Atiana Jefferson, I mean, we can just go down the list. And it's all these Black people who are in their own home, in the sanctity of their own dwelling, their castle, and their sanctuary, Breonna Taylor. But yet they all get killed and then they all try to justify it. And so it shouldn't matter whether they have an unblemished record or not. But we know, without a shadow of a doubt, if he would have had a checkered past, that's all we would have heard about for the victim. We still won't know anything about this killer officer. We won't hear one word about his past.
Ben Crump, we hate to have you on for these type of stories, and we hate to have to show those videos. But the reality is we're left with no choice because this is what happens to us all too often. We will keep on this case, and we will certainly see what is next.
Hey, thank you, Roland Martin. Thank you for covering our stories.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Ben.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media for the creator economy. This next generation social media app with over 600,000 users is raising $17 million, and now is your chance to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.